So how long have you two been a couple?
It's just over 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, just over 2 minutes. Sorry, feels like 2 years.
It's like,
This guy.
not a big talker, huh?
No.
This morning we've woken up at the Gympie bush camp after spending a clear, starry night here, despite the forecast rain. And there really is something about stepping outside of the van in the morning and being able to use those early hours to hike a hill or stroll through an entirely new town. The constant changing scenery can be tiring in some ways, and it actually has a really interesting effect on your memory over time. But as far as I can tell, the positives are far outweighing the negative. This morning we have woken up to the rain, so I'm just making use of that by being exceptionally lazy, enjoying my morning coffee in bed with a book. Once I muster up the will to move, we will head to Gympie to explore. The most important thing that we needed was to restock our coffee supply, and we found our hit at Hatch Coffee.
This is cool. Taking a video of our wet weather shoes.
Whenever you're in a town and you find somewhere that you can eat at that fits all of your silly dietary requirements, you have to go there. I don't make the rules. With the rain already falling, and quite heavily I might add, and there was a whole lot more rain predicted to come, we set our sights on a more urban location. After the opportunity to fully immerse ourselves in nature the last week, it was a little hard to pull ourselves back into civilization. But also, I think this kind of balance is necessary to stay connected, perhaps sane even, and make this lifestyle a little more sustainable over time. Plus, it means that we won't be tracking mud into the van all day long. We planted ourselves at the Yundi sports ground for the night, and perhaps a few nights depending on the extent of the rain. There seem to be quite a few small towns that offer this type of stay where the sports ground also doubles as a camping site, with a camp kitchen to top it off. I'm finding that the designated free or low expense camp spots are in the less glamorous parts of town. This one's on the side of the freeway. But what they lack in scenery, they often make up for in community. I consider ourselves exceptionally lucky that when we started living on the road, we were faced with nothing but sunshine and clear starry nights. But this week, we have been faced with our first genuinely wet week. The forecast for the Sunshine Coast is 100 millimeters of rain, like a lot of rain. I was looking at the synoptic charts this morning, and it is a huge rain system that's hanging over where we are at the moment. So we have no hope of trying to get ourselves into better weather anytime soon. So today we are literally not leaving the van. We're having a bit of a down day and just chilling out as the weather is intending for us to do. Hopefully tomorrow it clears up a little bit because the Yundi markets are on, the famous Yundi markets, and I'm pretty excited to go and check it out. I know it might seem a little bit weird and maybe boring to want to record our time spent inside the van because of the rain, but it's a new milestone and a new challenge for me to try and find ways to create comfort in what ultimately is a bit of an uncomfortable situation. We're facing being very confined in our tiny home, dealing with problems of condensation and a bit of rain, getting inside, wet clothes, wet shoes, all that good stuff. I'm currently sitting in the driver's seat with the engine running because we've been here for almost 24 hours now and we're losing power. Obviously the solar panels don't provide any charge when we're just sitting here in the rain, and we've not gone anywhere in a little while and don't want to go anywhere because it's atrocious driving weather. So I'm trying to suck a little bit of charge. All right, I was sitting in the front for about 20 minutes, so how are we going?
We are 66%.
66, but we were just 60 when I started. That's nothing.
We're getting about 40 amps an hour when
40
you turn on the
amps.
car. And we need about 80. Less than 80 now, but to get from 60% to 100%.
So how likely is it that we're going to run out of battery overnight?
Oh, I think we're pretty good, but it's going to take us a couple more hours to get it to 100%.
So you want me to sit out there for a couple more hours?
I'm just wondering why you're back here. That's all.
I was bored. We're gonna have a bit of lunch. Do you want anything?
Please.
Living in a van during the rain can be a uniquely intimate experience. There's some comfort in being in a small, enclosed space while listening to the raindrops tapping on the roof or watching them slowly roll down the windows. The smell of the rain mixes with the aroma of the coffee brewing on our little stove, and you feel like you've been given the all clear to just lay low for a little while. Despite all of the little inconveniences that come with van life in wet weather, there's a special kind of calm and peace in watching the world get washed clean from inside our little home. This little quiet period has allowed me to enjoy many coffees from bed, focus on some of my creative goals, and just breathe. The bathrooms are about 50 meters away from my car, and it's absolutely torrential. I'm about to track so much water back into the van. Okay. The next morning we got to visit the famous Yundi markets that, even though it was held on a Wednesday in the pouring rain, was packed. I also tested out my first attempt at getting something delivered to myself while on the road. I targeted this post office, assuming we'd be here around this time, and it was a success. We enjoyed the rest of this rainy day in the best way possible, with good coffee and a visit to Matzo's Sunshine Coast Brewery, where we spoiled ourselves to a tasting paddle. Ginger, chili and lime, lager, mango, tropical ale. We've got some blue sky peeking through those clouds again, and we all know what that means. Washing time. Living in a van really has turned each day into a new adventure. I mean, honestly, I have to tell you, it is wild being able to follow your heart's desire at a whim. Whether that means chasing a picturesque sunset, cozying up at the beach, or just driving down a long and remote road for the sake of seeing what's at the end. This mobility allows you to embrace opportunities as they arise, all while enjoying the comfort of having your home with you. I really feel very amazed at the way that we can drive when we want to and stop when we feel like it every day. Alright, hitting the track for today. We're gonna try and make it to the Carlo Sandblow. We could have parked here, but instead we parked another 1.2 k's down the road. So this actually marks the end of the Culinary Great Walk, which is one of the great walks of Oz. And I think it's a 85 kilometer track in total, which I think takes like 7 or 8 nights is the anticipated time frame. It looks beautiful, like it's right along the coastline here, but today we're just doing the first like 3 k's. One of my other goals while living on the road is that I really want to get back into hiking. Although a pretty nice byproduct, it's not just about seeing beautiful places, but also a self-discovery journey for me. So this is the track that I thought about doing as my first solo overnighter, but kind of got a little bit nervous about doing that in an unknown area, so I'm still working up to it. So Rowan joined me for the day hike. The Sandblow was absolutely sensational. I don't really think I knew what to expect, but found this dramatic windswept landscape that was wedged between dense bushland the contrast was quite stark, and the panoramic views between the ocean at one end and the wetlands at the other were truly breathtaking.
It's really like crunchy underfoot.
And the sheer scale of it is pretty much impossible to capture on camera. It was also pretty tiring to walk on.
It's the longest incline in the world. Been going for like 10 minutes already. The longest ever. It's a fact.
Go look it up.
Yeah, no, it's true. Trust me. But at least we get to roll back down. Or I get to use Rowan's bobsled.
I think this is really fascinating. Wherever like the wind has blown and there's just sort of a tiny stick or a leaf in the way, the sand's caught over time, and what's left is like hard as rock. Like it's very compacted. Love geology.
We made it! Yeah, wow. Goodness me. I think it's low.
Looks a bit low.
Ooh, look at all the soldier crabs. I used to love these as a kid. Here's the queen bee going for a stroll.
Hey, little friend.
This afternoon we've driven out to Gympie Point. We finally have sunshine again, which is fantastic. And this area is famous for four-wheel driving, but obviously we're not doing that with Billy. Instead, we've parked the van up the road and enjoying the beaches on our 2 feet. Inskip is the area where you get the barge over to Culinary Island. I don't think that's on our agenda for this part of the journey, but it's wild to me. We can see it from here, and there are lots of people driving along the beach, which I find quite interesting as a conservation area personally, but hey, it also looks like a lot of fun.
I don't know if you watched that episode of Seinfeld where George pretends to be a marine biologist to impress this girl that he's dating, but I did. And what I learned is that hitting golf balls into the ocean is a bad idea.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. As I watched them struggling, I realized that something was obstructing its breathing. From where I was standing, I could see directly into the eye of the great fish.
Mammal.
Whatever. So I reached my hand in, felt around, and pulled out the obstruction.
Just don't do it. Don't do it, Rod. I'm looking at you. Okay, Rod? Don't do it. We finished up our time at Rainbow Beach with a home-cooked meal, the reddest sunset that I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, you would not believe it. Finally settling down to some quiet conversations and stories around the campfire. The next day we hung around at Tin Can Bay, basically until we could figure out what we felt like doing next. I got a few jobs done, but the day actually turned out to be a whole lot more eventful than anticipated.
Hey! This is embarrassing because it's taken me 4 weeks to do this.
Hey, the camera doesn't know that. Back, baby.
Now we don't need to listen to this board flying around every time we drive anywhere. Today we've been in Tin Can Bay, just bumming around, doing not a hell of a lot.
We partially helped a woman who got stung by a stingray.
Sorry, let me go back. Originally we thought we'd go and feed the dolphins because that's the thing to do here, but we were far too late. So we thought we'd just relax by the shore, the mangroves. And then we were called upon for help. A girl got stung by a stingray quite badly on her foot, and we were available to boil some water to treat the sting and wait for the paramedics to arrive. So that was an adventure, and the other lady who had found her was also a traveller. We got to meet her and talk about all the tips she had for stealth camping, which we'll hopefully get to do more of in the future.
Shout out to Poppy.
Shout out to Poppy and Shannon, I hope you're okay. But now we're off to the town of Kiora, and we're going to be staying at Sublime Brewery, which is a brewery and lime grove, I suppose is what you would call it. So live music Saturday night. I'm pretty keen.
When finding a place to stay the night, we primarily go between designated free camps, paid campgrounds, a small amount of stealth camping, and pub stays. A lot of the travelling community in Australia look to country pubs as a place to stay, and it can be a really good way to give back to local businesses more directly, and probably one of the easier ways to meet new people when on the road. This morning we're in the town of Childers at a local cafe called Insane Caffeine, and the coffee is insanely good. The courtyard's pretty damn cute, and I could easily just spend all day sitting in the garden here.
So we're just sitting and having our morning coffee and doing a bit of Googling, and Rowan has found that apparently the bakery next door has the best salad sandwich in the southern hemisphere.
Everybody's saying it.
So we got to try it. Could I please get avocado, tomato, lettuce, onion, and olives?
Where'd you go? Gluten-free. Can't be put off by a gluten-free.
It's great. It's fresh. It's tasty. And the gluten-free wrap's pretty good. Ooh.
That's the real stuff.
Yeah. That curried egg looks really nice. I'm a bit jealous.
Tonight we stay in the Childers RV rest stop, which is one of those designated free camps that shout realities of van life. Not every night can be spent parked in a spectacular natural location. Unfortunately, it's just not always feasible, so we're safely squeezed in like sardines in a small town instead. The next day we hit the road again and left Childers and its salad sandwiches behind in order to head to the biggest smoke in the shape of a Bundaberg ginger beer bottle. We played tourist by stopping in the Bundaberg barrel where the soft drinks are brewed, bottled, boxed and sent all around the world. Through the magic Willy Wonka door we go. Speaking to a few locals we met at the campsite last night, it seems like they're really proud of having a global brand like this born in Bundaberg, and I thought that was really nice. So naturally we had to check it out and stock up on some unique flavours ourselves. After our sugar rush, we popped down to the beach at Bagara, and I was in love. This is one of those places that just makes you go wow. And with the summery weather starting to shape up, I was seriously contemplating my first ocean swim of the season.
Water's so clear here. Should I just do it? There's showers up there, there are cubicles and everything. I can use soap. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Are you going to go in?
Yeah.